All right, everyone, and welcome to the end of week market wrap up with StatsEdgeTrading. So, what we do at the end of the week, if you don't know, we take a step back, we chill out, grab a beer, and go over weekly charts. So, we're going to go over weekly charts of the crypto market, the FX market, the stock market. I'm going to show some individual names that I'm interested in. These are a little longer videos. Throughout the week, I try to throw out some shorter videos. So this one, kind of settle in. If you are not signed up to get the watch list daily that I email out, or the screenshots of everything I'm about to show you, email up. Go to StatsEdgeTrading.com, put in your email address, sign up. Again, it helps me out because it's just another way for me to contact you. If I end up doing something cool that I want you guys to hang out at, that's how I can get a hold of everyone. So go to StatsEdgeTrading.com. I also have a free trading course there if you want to try it out, completely free. You don't need to sign up or anything. Again, you can just go and check that out. If you're new to trading, it was when I was locked in my office because of the pandemic and with the wife who had never traded before, and kind of teaching her how to trade. So that was a really good one. So let's get into it right now, and let's get started here with BTC USD. Again, we're going weekly charts here, so we're zooming out. Jeez, old notes. Let's close this down. Yeah, so we are still fighting this kind of 36, 37 area. I did a Fibonacci retracement here and showed that we're just struggling in this zone. We've been fighting it for a while. If we go into the daily chart, we had a little bit of a breakout yesterday. Giant topping tail that kind of made me nervous, and now we're coming up in there today. So we need to get over that topping tail. Again, I always try to give my bias. I am long a fair amount of Bitcoin from lower prices from, I think somewhere in this area on this breakout. So I just will always tell you guys my bias because that may influence the way I'm kind of thinking about things. But we are coming into resistance. It's making me a little bit nervous. However, very bullish, right? We broke out finally. We were stuck in this range right here for so long, right? Let's do this one. Oop, not that one. Let's do this one. So yeah, we were stuck in this range. Let's get rid of this. From here to right here for a year. Just bopping back and forth within that range. A breakout, a solid weekly close, some good continuation. That's fantastic. But again, we are a little bit overextended. We are hitting some resistance, so I'm more in profit-taking mode. If I ever do get a pullback into this area right here, I'll just be rebuying things at that point. So Bitcoin looks absolutely amazing. Now, Ethereum, I've seen people talk a lot about how, hey, I want to get involved in Ethereum. I want to get involved. We are nearing this breakout, so there may be a big catch-up trade coming. Now, I could be wrong, but I'm not super into this catch-up trade. And the reason is we are up now 4 weeks in a row and pretty overextended just to get to this resistance, where with Bitcoin, we were kind of chopping in this range for a long period of time and we just smashed right through. The fact that we are kind of lumbering our way up into this resistance makes it a little bit less interesting to me overall. I want to see a base or some sort of consolidation around a resistance and then just pop right through. So that's what I'm seeing in Ethereum, a little bit sloppier action when it comes to that. Now we go into the dollar here. So just the dollar index. Sell off last week. This is kind of what caused that massive rally last week, is that we had this sell-off. Talked about how this was another Fibonacci zone that was very interesting. Something I may incorporate more and more as time goes on if I continue to see these work. But we were up so much in such a straight line to break, and now we're starting to rally. But we closed the week not able to take that gap. So for me, that's kind of interesting, where it's okay, I wish we were able to retake this, but we're not. So what I'm going to do is just say, okay, if we fail at this level, and I think I talked about this on the midweek report, this breakdown zone right here, we're kind of in that area. If we can't get above that and we fail and push lower, this becomes a little bit of a bear flag. Then buying things like the euro, which I do own some, full disclosure, and buying things like the pound, basically anything denoted to the dollar, then it's going to be something that's going to be worthwhile if the dollar does fail here, which would be really, really fitting. Because if we're looking at this, we have this failed breakdown right here, this massive support zone that we broke down and then retest. So then if we have, draw that over, if this becomes a failed breakout of the top, and then we have a failed breakout of the bottom, which leads into a failed breakout of the top, that's kind of fitting, right? That's just messing with people on both sides. So going into Aussie CAD, this is something that I've been watching for a while. I talked about the fake out that I kind of liked under this last zone right here. Broke up, and now we're pulling back. So on a lower time frame on Aussie CAD, I'm going to be looking bullish to see if I can get some bullish trades going on there, where it's interesting. We had this pop off resistance, we had a break of this downtrend, and now we are the break of this downtrend, and now we are retesting this from below. Again, Aussie CAD is one that I trade, one that I like, because it's two petrocurrencies against each other, so it kind of removes that petrodollar risk. So on Aussie dollar or Aussie yen, potential rounded bottom here, right? Potential kind of cup and handle type of look. We hit this resistance again this week, but we failed off it. So I wouldn't be shocked to maybe see a little bit of continuation lower here on Aussie yen, and then maybe a bounce from there. Who knows? Again, I always give this disclosure. The Bank of Japan seems to be in a battle to make sure its currency doesn't go to zero, so that could be a while. So we go euro dollar. And euro dollar is always going to be the opposite of the Dixie. I think the Dixie is like 70% euro. So you're just going to see this chart in reverse. But I do like looking at it coming all the way down from this anchored VWAP support right here. Hung out here for a month, rallied off, and then pulled in a little bit. Again, I am long some euro dollar on a shorter term time frame just to see if maybe next week we get a continuation move here as well. Two more in the currency space, and then we'll go over to stocks. So we have US dollar CAD, and this just potential box right here that's been going on for a very long time. We hit that box, we pulled off, and we put in a really solid week. If the dollar starts to lose a little bit of strength again, I don't know what's going to happen here. But if we ever do break this high right here with a strong dollar, then this measured move actually puts us up a fair amount in US dollar CAD. Again, my bias there is that I live in Canada and I get paid in US dollars from my consulting gigs and stuff, so I want this to push higher. Last but not least is gold here on the currency, where we anchor a VWAP from this high right here, we anchor a VWAP from this low right here, and then we have this kind of pullback range. I was actually just on Trader TV talking to Neil and saying that I'm interested in gold as it pulls back into this breakout. Nice clean pullback here. So coming into Monday, I'm going to be looking to buy gold if I can get some sort of shorter term play in this level right here in gold. So let's actually go back here to trade ideas. Again, if you haven't picked up trade ideas and you're interested, this is where I do all of my scanning, all of my trading for equities. Check it out, 30% off this weekend. You can use the link in the description below or in my bio or at StatsEdgeTrading.com. If you use those links, it does help out the channel. But again, this is where I do all of my stock work for my equity trading. Now, right off the bat, we are going to go, sorry, every time I look down, it's because I have my notes there. We're going to take a look at the S&P 500. We're going to go here, and we're going to go SPY. And a massive kicker pattern, this one's called. So I'm a big candlestick guy, I really love candlesticks. This one's called a kicker pattern, which I like, where you have a big red day, and then that just gets completely removed the next day. You have a gap up and then a continuation. So it kind of kicks the shorts. And that gets us to and through, finally, this gap and back over 440. So from here, again, I can't be bearish. I think we have a lot of people saying, oh, I missed this massive move. Let me wait for it to pull back. Or it's too overextended. I can't buy it here. Thankfully, if you've been following the channel, you'll know that we were buying in this area right here because it was anchored VWAP support. So I have a pretty decently long portfolio. I've been taking profits on the way up, but I have some more names that I'm going to be interested in, and we'll go through those names at the end that I'm going to be interested watching into next week. But I'm already pretty long, so this trend is very good for me. But yeah, just one day down because of JPOW and then just rallied. So amazing trade there. Amazing move in the market. But let's go down the cap scale. And by down the cap scale, I mean SPY is your big cap companies. Right? Everything in the S&P 500 you probably heard of. MDY here, this is our mid caps. So not quite the little guys, but between $2 and $10 billion market cap. Might be early to call, but we have a potential inverse head and shoulders going on here, which this catching up to the S&P 500 would be very good. Now, I say this all the time, that in bear markets, you have the weaker names dragging down the stronger names. But in bull markets, which we're in now, you have the stronger names pulling up the weaker names. And that may be what's going on here with these other caps, right? If we go a little further down the cap scale, you'll see a little more weakness. This is what I want to see can kind of help us out here. So this is IWN. This is a small cap. This is under $2 billion. Again, still having a hard time. If we go to IWC, right, this is the micro caps. And again, still the same problem. So where you want to focus, and you'll see the list that I'm going to show you guys, you kind of want to focus a little bigger cap right now. What I'm looking at is I'm looking at stocks that didn't care about the pullback, that were strong going into that pullback. Those are the guys that I'm interested in buying because I think they will lead our way out of this. Now, you cannot be remiss if you see anyone do a weekly analysis and they do not bring up the fact that we made a all-time closing weekly high on XLK, which is the technology fund. You gotta talk about that. That's certainly not bearish. Anyone who's talked about, oh, it's a bear market and everything's bad, that can't be bearish. That we've made an all-time weekly closing high on our technology index, with technology being such a big part of the market. Uranium, still like the look of uranium here. Nice little cup. Talked about this last week. This nice powerful move. We had this potential bull flag going on here in the weekly chart. Little inside weak, but a nice bottoming tail. So showing us that we sold off at the beginning of the week, rallied to close the week pretty high. Really good look there on the SPY, or on the URA uranium ETF. USO oil, relatively weak, but nearing an interesting zone. So we have this breakout. Let me switch my drawing tools. We have this breakout area right here. You can see right in here. So this breakout area, we've had a hard time getting through it. We've come down, we've tested it, and we put in a little bit of a bottoming tail. Very interesting on USO. So maybe some oil stocks next week could be in play if my theme of the market lifting up some of these weaker plays is right. Where I'm not going is into ARK. These unprofitable names still continue to get killed. So I look at ARK as my proxy for companies that generally don't make money. And the problem is, regardless of whether it's your favorite meme stock or whether it's this or whether it's that, whether it's the other thing, if your company doesn't make money right now, that's a really bad thing, because the dollar value of money is way more with high interest rates. So you see how relatively weak ARK has been compared to the rest of the market. So a couple names I'm adding into next week. Again, if you want my full watch list, you go to StatsEdgeTrading.com, you sign up for the email list. I always put it at the bottom when I remember. So you can just take that and you can copy and paste it into Trade Ideas. Again, if you don't have access to Trade Ideas, go to StatsEdgeTrading.com, use the link there to give it a shot at a great price. $600 on Adobe. Massive strong name, little bit of a pullback, also has that kicker pattern. But notice that how Adobe were hitting new highs. This is an AI play. We're much stronger. So the market had this pretty dramatic pullback. Adobe didn't on the weekly chart. So here on the daily, looking really good. with this $600 break. Could be a breakout of this tight little bull flag. We also have DraftKings that did so well on earnings. Massive push up on earnings, and now has been pulling back for 3 days in a row. Little inside day today. So if we can get going over the last 2 days high right here, I'm very interested in getting involved in DraftKings. VRT, not too sure what these guys do, but really strong base. Just a nice high base on this name. Has been crazy strong, has already doubled from here, and just holding really, really high on VRT. Last but not least, I know I talk about this one a lot, but every trade I've had on this so far this year has been great, so I'm going to continue to go back to that well as long as it feeds me. UEC is battling this level. You can see all the bottoming tails. So every time it kind of pulls under this 550-ish area intraday, there's some buying going on. So if we can break these cluster of highs right here, then I'm interested in getting involved in UEC, again, assuming uranium is playing out and pushing higher the way that I think it is. So that's it. A lot of charts. 16 minutes. Actually, not bad. So thank you guys for the comments. Thank you guys for the sharing. Kind of love all that stuff. And again, sign up for the email list, StatsEdgeTrading.com. I will see you next week and get away from the screens.